Hello. I'm happy to be here with you today to talk about happiness. Do you ever ask yourself exactly what it is and how we define it and the ways in which we express it? I do. I think about it at a personal level. I think about it at a professional level when I talk to my students about ancient Greek philosophy. And I've been thinking about it even more lately as a result of preparing for this talk. In many ways, what is happiness really is a timeless question. It's been analyzed, researched, studied, thought about, written about, and even sung about for thousands of years. One song that came to mind right away was a song by Pharrell called Happy. The song was an instant hit. It's been streamed on YouTube over 1.3 billion times. It is an infectious song. It shows people jumping, dancing, laughing, smiling, and just having a great time. I can relate to that. I think we all can. Our moments are precious. We look forward to things, concerts, athletic competitions, birthday parties, weddings. Our moments are, in many ways, what really make life great and make life special. But I asked myself, what happens in between these moments? What happens when we're not in a happy moment? Do we just go back to being unhappy? Do we live back and forth between happiness and unhappiness? If that were true, then I hate to say it, but I think we spend most of our lives being unhappy. I decided to ask my students what they thought about happiness. 3 answers stuck out. First thing they said was that happiness is something more long-term. The second thing they said is that happiness is different than joy. And the third thing that Tyra said, who's here with us today, she said that happiness is something we do on the daily. It's in the little things, she said. And I thought to myself, wow, that sounds a lot like Aristotle from 2,000 years ago. The thing about Aristotle and the ancient Greeks is they had a word for happiness. It was eudaimonia, but the word eudaimonia sometimes gets mistranslated into happiness. The literal meaning of eudaimonia really breaks up into 2 parts. The EU really means well or good. And daimon means divine spirit, divine power, supernatural force. So quite literally, eudaimonia means good spirit, good supernatural force, good power. Thought, okay, now we're on to something. See, with eudaimonia, Aristotle and the ancient Greeks thought that happiness wasn't just a moment, but it was a way of life. It was what we do in the little things. It's how we are a force for good on the daily, day in and day out. If Aristotle were here today, I think he would say, and this is going to sound a little bit dry and not very exciting, he would say that happiness, eudaimonia, is about doing the right thing in the right way, towards the right people, and for the right reasons. And if we stop to think about it, that sounds pretty difficult. The right thing in the right way, towards the right people, for the right reasons. That turns happiness into more of a moment. It becomes more of a mission. It becomes more of a calling, a challenge to do good, to be a force for good in between the moments. My wife and I recently, we bought a new car. It's our first new car. And here's a picture. I assure you that those smiles and that happiness was not what was going on before the purchase, during the purchase, and now we have to pay for it. So the moment was great, but a lot went into that moment. We had to talk about whether it was the right time, whether it was the right car, whether we got the right interest rate, whether we got the right loan terms, whether it was right for her and right for me. And when we finally found this car that was exactly what we were looking for, we couldn't even be happy in that moment. In fact, I told my wife, I need you to show misery, depression, and anger until we sign. Okay? Please, right? And it was funny because we were there in the moment and we knew it, and I had to signal to her, please, and it worked. We got a really good deal, okay? We got such a good deal that one of the managers told me that the head manager was upset. And he said, well, that's good for you. And I said, perfect. That's great. See, what I'm trying to say is that happiness, while it is a moment, it's also a calling to act rightly and to do rightly, even when it's not comfortable, even when it's difficult. I like to think of it as a well. You look at a well, and there's water. We assume there's water in there, right? And the daily actions that we take, the good that we do day in and day out, can sometimes not really materialize into anything. It can be invincible. Our good nature and our force for good and our good action can sometimes seem insignificant, like it's not there. But it is. And the times that we know that it's there are the times that we raise that bucket down and bring up some fresh water. We enjoy the moment, but that moment rests on a tapestry of human action that upholds that moment and makes that moment meaningful and genuine and authentic. I hate for this to be my last slide, but I'll tie it in. One of my all-time favorite movies is a film by the great Steven Spielberg called Saving Private Ryan. It is a fantastic film, and it is loosely based on a true story. The main actor is Tom Hanks, and he plays Captain John Miller. And in the movie, Captain John Miller has a squad of soldiers that have been given the impossible assignment, the impossible mission, the impossible task to find Ryan, one soldier in the middle of World War II. Needless to say, the soldiers and the captain aren't very happy about the mission. Ryan has lost all three of his brothers already in the war. And the military sent this assignment because the military does not want Ryan's mom to bury her last remaining son. In the movie, all of the soldiers except one die, but they do complete the mission. And Captain John Miller, at the end of the film, in his last breaths, is right next to Ryan on the bridge. Ryan is looking at him as his life escapes him. And in the film, Captain John Miller grabs Ryan up close. He looks at him and he says, "Earn this. Earn this." Fast forward a couple scenes, Ryan is now in his 80s. He has a wife and kids, and he's visiting the headstone of Captain John Miller. And he whispers in his breath, "Every day I think about what you told me on that bridge that day. and he falls to his knees. And he's overwhelmed with emotion because he can't fathom the sacrifice that was given for him. And his wife has to come and she helps him up and she says, what's wrong? What's wrong? And the only thing that he can say to her to appease, to come close to repaying the sacrifice that they made for him was, tell me I'm a good man. Tell me I've lived a good life. And so happiness is a call. It's a challenge. It's a mission. It's our right. And it's what really makes the moments priceless. Thank you.